Welcome to the iconic Riches in the Niches series, an educational and inspirational space to educate officiants on growth gems and the importance of honing your unique style and creative offerings. My name is Tiara. I'm your host, New Jersey officiant, owner of Royal Treatment with Tiara, and creator of the Wedding Officiant Academy. And I am beyond excited for today's guest. Please give us a formally informal introduction to yourself and your business.
Hey everybody, what's up? I am Jeff. I'm a wedding officiant in the province of Ontario. I'm about an hour west of Toronto geographically. It gives you kind of a location where I am. I've been super lucky. I've done about 1,500 ceremonies over the past bunch of years, and it is truly a blast and a gift to be able to do this work and to serve couples in this way. I love it. I'm thankful that I get to be here. Thank you for inviting me on.
Oh my gosh. So I am so excited to jump into the conversation. But before we do that, I just want to give you a little piece about me. I am very big on gratitude filled, and I do not start anything without a little gratitude moment. So I want to invite you into a practice I do with all of my couples in every meeting, which is a gratitude check-in. You share one thing you're grateful for, I share one thing I'm grateful for, and then we are jumping over to the icebreaker.
Let's do it. Do you want me to start?
Yes.
Do you know what? I wake up every morning. So I do the drop-offs at school for my kid. This is not work related. I'm so grateful and thankful that I get to be a dad. It was a journey to get there. It is the best job in the world, and it brings me so much joy that it's every morning amidst the chaos. I'm like, this is being a dad's a gift. So that's what I'm grateful for, honestly, every morning.
I love that. That is so good. As a fellow parent, I'm gonna elaborate on yours. As a fellow parent, I'm also grateful for my child, mainly because she gets to see an example of like stepping out on faith and boldness and confidence and believing in yourself. And the way that she recognizes that in me and my business just lets me know that I'm doing something good in my parenting because it shows up in her trying out for plays and just doing things that she would be, nervous to do, or understand that she doesn't have the knowledge of it yet, but like she's going to go seek and find it and she gets it from her mama. So I am grateful.
Love that. I love that. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's great. That's so sweet. That's so good.
Oh man, awesome. So I would love to know, as our first question, what is one thing you love about officiating? It's a light
Here.
icebreaker.
Yeah, there's lots to love. I do find I'm really big on community. I love people, and I know it seems like a bit of a cop out. I'm actually highly energized by meeting new people. When I get to a wedding where I know, you go to show up and there's 400 or 500 people there, and I know the couple, and that's basically it. I actually get really excited about that. I get excited about kind of wandering around, meeting people. That brings me a ton of joy, and yeah, I think that's one of the things I love. We work with these incredibly creative people. Although I've been told, hey, Jeff, you actually are creative. I mean, you write these things, you deliver them, but I don't necessarily see it that way as when I see someone creating images or a video or like that type of stuff, or a hair and makeup artist.
Hmm.
They constantly remind me you are creative, but I'm inspired by the work that they do, which kind of drives me forward to say, I want to be great at this. And so anyway, that's one of the things I love. The people is just, it makes it such a vibrant, fun community.
I love that. I have to say, I have not heard that answer before.
Gotcha.
Yeah, most answers are couple centered. I'll say that. But I feel like you made an emphasis on what a lot of officiants also try to avoid, which is mingling with all the other people there that you don't know outside of the couple. So
Yeah.
I love that. That was
Yeah.
super good.
I think there's something about adding value to a couple's day by saying, look, I'm here to serve you and it's going to be great and we're going to have a ton of fun. And by the time I get there, I know them really well. But I want to add value in other ways by saying, look, I want your guests to feel welcome. I want them to feel like I'm part of the group, like I'm enhancing the day. So I think it's something I take on myself. Maybe I don't need to, but uh, if I can add to the day, I want to do it. And it's just a lot of fun.
That is so good. That was a gem for me. I think that unlocked something for me subconsciously because I'm always like, I only know the couple and I more focus on maybe helping the vendors and stuff like that. But it is a piece to welcoming everyone. And then I went to a officiant accelerator where Chris Shelley was speaking about just owning the room before you even like walk into the room. So like when you're there early anyway, talk to the guests that are early arriving and get them on your side before you even start the ceremony. And I never considered that as like a good thing to like, that was so smart. Yeah, I love
For
that.
sure. For sure. Yeah, that's awesome. That's cool. Yeah, Chris is great.
Yes. So I would love to hear your officiant origin story. What inspired you to become an officiant and kind of how did that journey unfold?
Right. I'll give you the TLDR version of it. My wife and I, in a previous era in our lives when we were younger, we used to model in the wedding industry. So suits, dresses, do all that type of stuff. And we kind of got to know everyone in the space, hair, makeup, video, photo, venues, all that stuff. And we became the go-to people in our area anyway for like, hey, you already know these people. Can you help us kind of plan weddings? And so I encouraged my wife. I said, I think there's something here. You should pursue it. And we did. That was 2012, and it went well pretty quickly. And by 2015, I said, man, all these couples are asking us the same questions of, do you know an officiant who might be like maybe a little bit more engaging, a bit more dynamic, a bit different than kind of what they'd seen? And at that time, we didn't know anyone doing that. And I said, well, hold on a sec. This is actually just my personality. Like, why don't I just go be me behind the mic? I love being on the mic anyway. I did my first one, as is the case with a lot of people. You do the first one, you're hooked right away. That was for sure the case. And then you immediately go on this mission of figuring out, how can I do this all the time?
Yeah.
Um, and that's the journey I've been on since then. So I guess it's almost 10 years that I've been performing weddings, and that's been just a wild ride all the way through. It's been so fun. So anyway, it's kind of grown since then. We've got a planning team, I've got an officiating team, we have a venue. I perform weddings across the province, sometimes in Europe, kind of all over, which is great. And I train a lot of officiants, and now I launched a course recently to help officiants deliver better ceremonies. So there's kind of a lot of pieces going on, but it's all in the same place. It's all serving the same community of people, saying I want to elevate the experience that couples can have, and the way that I think I can maximize that impact is by training or encouraging officiants to pursue greatness. To just say, look, if I'm going to do a thing, I should be awesome at it.
Yep.
And that's kind of my call to people is, look, if you're going to do it, you should be really good. There's no reason not to be. So um, yeah, sorry, I'm
That's
sorry. That's a long answer to that
no,
question,
that
but
was
yeah.
perfect, perfect. Because I mean, literally. Um, so I would love for you to kind of break down what is that process of becoming an officiant in Canada. I'm very familiar with the United States as most of our community, but as we branch out, we would definitely want to know the proper way because there's improper, proper.
That's right. So in Ontario, so I'll speak Ontario specifically because provincially it's a bit different. So province to province, it's not there's not like a national way to do it. In Ontario, where I'm located, you can either be kind of provincially or federally appointed, like a clerk, JP, case master, judge, someone like that at City Hall that might perform your ceremony. The other option, which is what 99% of officiants in Ontario are, they're registered religious officiants, which means they've been appointed through a religious denomination, um, and that's where they get the authority from the provincial government. And so I'm actually the governing official of a religious denomination. So I also appoint officiants in the province of Ontario. So we've got a team of 45 people that I've appointed, and that's been a newer thing the past couple of years. And so I'm training them as well, and our team is growing every week. Um, and so that's basically the process. You have to align yourself with a religious denomination that kind of lines up with your values, your beliefs. And there are obviously people provincially that say, well, I don't want to be married in a religious ceremony. Maybe that's what they're thinking.
Mhm.
But the umbrella provincially, everyone falls under that category. So even if you are non-religious by nature, your organization would still actually be in a registered religious officiant checkbox. That's kind of how it works. So the authority is provincially, but it's given through religious denominations.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, that definitely is a little bit different
Yeah.
than
Oh
over
yeah,
here in the States.
for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. Okay, that's good to know. So you officiated ceremonies in Canada, Europe, I'm gonna say the US? Yes?
I get asked often. One of the things I find about the US ones I get asked for. So I've had some YouTube videos do particularly well, and that's where I seem to draw the American couples that reach out, or they find me on Instagram. That's a pretty common way too. But um, in Ontario, I find that booking patterns are pretty far in advance. Like couples will
Mm,
generally book a year to two in advance, which is both great and also makes you fairly inflexible, which is too bad. So I've had some great ones for California, Arizona, and New York in particular, and some of them my wife's been very upset about because they're in Central Park, and it's like that would be a dream to do that.
yeah,
And I'm booked, which I'm thankful I'm booked with a couple here, but my wife's like, oh man, that literally would be a dream to do
yeah.
that. So So I haven't done them in the US for mostly that reason. I find that booking, they reach out maybe 6 months before, 3 to 6 months, and that's just
Yeah.
not enough time, unfortunately, for me to do it.
Yeah, yeah. It's funny. So I don't know. Let's talk about that because you mentioned just a slight difference that you notice in the market. Simple as like booking times, right? Definitely in America, we see couples booking, I mean, like a month, 2 weeks, and we're just like, bro, like, what is going on? Are we that far down on the to-do list? And unfortunately, it kind of seemed like it because it is an average where, about 6 to 9 months before the wedding day, that's when they start reaching out for their officiant. Why do you think that's so different in Canada that they're going, a year to almost 2 years out?
Yeah, I think it's a bit layered because there's definitely different segments of the market that will book closer to the date. There are, um, and I think it comes down to a bit like you mentioned to what couples value. I mean, if they value photography first, they're going to book the photographer first. If they want a specific venue, I'm big on couples looking for their team. This is a bit of a Josh Withers. He's a celebrant in Australia, a great friend of mine. Um, Him and I see eye to eye on this. You book your team first, you look for the venue second because you want the best possible people to make the day great. And then you go to the venue, say, "This is my team. They're available these dates. Do you have any of those?" Um, and it's almost like working backwards. Most couples book the venue and then try to piece the team together, but then they don't get the people maybe that they want. I've been working hard at trying to reverse the order, and I started doing that maybe in 2018 when I noticed a similar thing where the officiant is kind of like sometimes they're just added in. They're just like, I just need like a dude up here to say some stuff. And I was like, hold on, that's not me. Like, that's not what I'm doing. Um, Even with these elopement packages that I put together in 2019, where they're helicopter elopements, um, instead of a photographer putting together an elopement and saying, I just need an officiant, I piece it together. I sourced out the photographer videographers. I do all the planning for it. And so it's kind of reversed that. And so now they're booking me first, which is a great thing. So that's been a nice like reversal of that. And obviously it's been helpful, but that's through no short effort of marketing and things like that as well. I mean, you're only one person, which means you can only be one place at one time. And so as couples sense the urgency of like, look, you're getting booked up. I better book this person fast. Otherwise I'm going to miss out.
Hmm.
Um, yeah. And that happens. And that's okay. I'm happy and thankful that I'll be able to, point people in the right direction of other great people. But yeah, the booking patterns for sure for the bigger venues further out. I would say this year in particular, 2024 has been a bit strange. And I do think that's like economically things are a little bit rocky. So this year in 2024, more than any other year, I saw people booking tighter, 12
Mm,
months
okay.
ish, because I think people were less willing and inclined to tie up finances into the future with interest rates being unknown. And when if you're spending 50, 100, 150, $200,000, uh, a slight bump in the interest rate is quite a bit if you
Yeah.
if you don't have that money. So they're very careful and cautious to do that. So I'm just starting to see more 2026 leads come in,
Mm,
which is a good thing. So which is telling me, okay, people are kind of getting back to the normal rhythm.
yeah. Oh, that's so good. And that you kind of is paying attention to like that flow, right? When it's slowing down, kind of why it might be slowing down, noticing that it's picking back up. And you spoke to even tapping into like another market, which is elopements, adventure
Hmm.
elopements. So I want to talk about the bold vision behind Elopers and Co. Super
Cool.
dope.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I would love that. I love that you have the option to do like cliffside, mountaintop, private island, boat. I was like, okay, I need to understand almost like the thought process, and also you spoke to a little bit, but really the strategic partnerships that you kind of form to create such an unique offering, honestly.
Right. It's I was really inspired by some elopements that I've seen around the world, and so I have a habit of not looking across the market in Ontario or Canada. That's not particularly interesting to me to do. I love looking overseas. What are people doing what are they doing in Australia? What are they doing in the UK? I'm curious to know how are people celebrating out there. And there's interesting things that you can draw from it. In BC in particular, which is the west side of Canada, they do helicopter elopements. It's a pretty common thing. They've got the Rocky Mountains. It's insanely beautiful. I'm in Ontario. It's super flat. It's kind of boring. Um, but I thought, man, why don't I just get a helicopter? Like not buy one. I'm gonna, partner with a helicopter company. I'm not gonna fly the helicopter. Why don't I just plan this thing, because I'm a person of a million ideas, and I honestly love to pursue ideas to the point of kind of realizing it. And I think a lot of people stop at the idea phase. They say that'd be a cool thing to do. Man, just
Mhm.
do it. Just
Yeah.
figure it out.
Yeah.
Ask questions, email people, which is what I did. I found a helicopter place. They gave me a quote on taking a 6-seater one out. They flew me out in a private. The owner of the helicopter company has a plane, and so we went location scouting, which was fun too. So we're flying around Ontario. We're trying to find a perfect spot. I had some criteria that it had to be west facing. I wanted to see the sun setting. I wanted privacy, and um, but side note on that, he let me fly the plane for a few seconds, which is crazy, by the way. Um, and like I was sweating immediately, so he's like, "Oh, you can fly it. It's no problem. Like this thing is totally it's totally fine." And so I'm flying it, and you kind of like move the handle a little bit, and it starts dipping. I'm like, "Okay, I'm out. I'm out. I like take this thing from me. I can't do it." We found this crazy location on a private island. It's insane. It's absolutely insane. Um, then I put the idea out there on socials and said, "Look, I'm looking for a couple that wants to do something crazy. Um, I'm not going to make money on this. I'm going to do it at cost. And so it's going to be really cheap. We just want to see if it works." And I'm very lucky to be uh, great friends with some just insanely talented photo and video people here. And they've done the work long before I had. They're kind of people who've lifted me up quite a bit. And so I brought them along because I knew that as an officiant at that point, you need to have credibility to show that it's worth it. And they had the credibility. I didn't. And so we did this thing. I had a couple say, "I'm in." We ended up having the most, like, you couldn't have, it was the most perfect day. Like, it was literally the most perfect day. The photos were, it's just stunning. And then people are like, "What the heck is going on? This guy flew a helicopter to an island in Ontario? Like, what is this?" And so I very quickly became like the helicopter elopement guy, which was very fun. And it gave us more interesting and exciting things in the midst of the chaos of our lives to say Monday to Thursday, which are the only dates we had booked them because we're booked Friday to Sunday for weddings. We'll do these Monday to Thursday. We'll fill up the week, or book them during the week.
Mhm.
Um, and they were just so exciting. They were so much fun, and there's definitely a segment of the market that was looking for something like that, where
Mhm.
the idea of standing in front of 200 people and like professing their love to one another is like a nightmare for them.
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Man, no problem. Let's go do this thing on a cliff, like overlooking the water. Like it'll just be stunning." And so my goal for next year is to do a lot more of those because they energize me. They get me really excited. They're just a little bit different than everything else, and it allows you to be more creative. So that's, yeah, long answer, but it's been so much fun, and it's really, from like a straight marketing standpoint, it's actually been extremely helpful as well to be able to produce these really remarkable images and video that are just not seen provincially. So again, when you're looking for ways to kind of stand apart, if you can produce that type of experience for couples, it puts you in a bit of a different category fairly quickly, and that was helpful for me as well.
Yeah. And you said a key to that, which I have to emphasize again, because our community typically attracts officiants who are aspiring, within their first couple of years or haven't really gotten out there. And I think that one of the things that I see a lot of times as conversations in our community is like, oh, like, how do I get out into the market? How do I market myself? Where do I market myself? And everything like that. And then you see the flood of, different answers and stuff. But I think one thing that you spoke to that I have, again, not seen people speak to is going outside of the country to look for inspiration.
Yeah,
People are always telling you, look inside your state, look at your, your neighboring officiants, look at your, healthy competition, whatever, and see how you can stand out in that regard. But it's like, you're going to see that things are a lot similar. You're not going to see much
that's right.
different.
That's
And
right.
it's just
Yeah.
everybody's doing this. Like they're literally looking left and right,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah,
So
yeah.
you're like, no,
Yeah,
go yonder, go over the
for
pond.
sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
get on like a virtual plane and see how other people are doing things other places and see how you can bring that and make that your own. And again, that advice is just not out there. So thank you.
There, there was a great book that a friend recommended to me maybe 15 years ago. I recommend it to every officiant that I talk to, really anyone that's in business. It's called Blue Ocean Strategy.
Okay.
And it's
You
this
write that.
idea that everyone competes in this red pool and it's hyper competitive. Let's call it price. Everyone competes in the $400 to $500 range.
Mhm.
Your goal is to get out of there as quickly as possible and create a blue ocean, which is separation from that highly competitive space. And so if you charge a lot more than everybody else,
Mm-hmm.
you're automatically not compared to that group, and you're out of the most competitive space, which is the 400 and 500. Everyone thinks like if I just charge less, it'll be easier to book. It's actually harder because
Yep.
everybody's there.
Yep.
And so that's the similar idea that I place for looking across industries. I also look outside of the wedding industry, how other people are doing marketing and things like that. I'm like, I think there's like application here. I think that could work here. So I get inspired by a lot of that stuff.
Let me say, drop that book again. Blue Ocean
Blue Ocean Strategy.
Strategy. Thank you.
Yeah. I believe it's actually I can see it on my shelf. I think it's Chan. I can't quite see it from here. But very easy to find. Extremely good book. I've read it a bunch of times.
Yeah, I will absolutely be adding that to my read list. So thank you.
For sure. For sure.
I love that. So I want to talk a little bit about how you've built your digital presence, your social media presence, your YouTube presence, and how important that is for the success of an officiant business. How important is visibility? How important is marketing? And then on top of that, maybe more unique marketing, right? Where you're not just listing your packages or just listing your reviews, and like what are ways that people can actually get out there?
Yeah, that's a great question. You talked earlier, just a few minutes ago, about people just getting started, and they're unsure kind of how to get going. My recommendation to everyone, like all the people that I train, is look, say yes to everything. Do as many weddings as you can at the beginning. They may not be your ideal ones, and some of them might be really difficult. They might be a nightmare. Like it might be, but you need to get the experience. You need to practice. Nobody's great at the beginning, and that's okay. You need to know, where are you at? How can I improve? And without repetition, you can't get there. You can study and read as much as you want. You won't get there. So that's part of it. And there are a million ways to find couples. And I think, for instance, one of the ways that I tell people, a very easy one, there's a lot of them, but this is just one example. There's lots of Facebook groups for wedding swap and sells, regional ones, cities, whatever it may be. And it's the same thing every time. Someone will put in search of an officiant for August 24th, 2025, whatever the date is. And you'll see everyone just saying, I'm available, would love to officiate. Hey, check my stuff out. Hey, do this. That's so boring. This was a lot of years ago that I started doing this, maybe 2016, that I employed this one. And I haven't done it since then because I've got other ways that I get couples now. But I just said, you know what? I'm just going to film a video of myself and reply to them directly. I'm already at a wedding. Hey, what's up? It's Jeff. I'm actually at a wedding right now. It's going to take place in about half an hour. This is wild. I just saw you're looking for an officiant. Would love to be the guy to help you out. You can check me out at this website. And I was the only person to this day, because I've checked still, that put videos up.
Yes.
And I can tell you, I got every one of those leads because it was the only thing that was different. And it was as simple as just getting on the camera.
Yeah.
And so that was once I got the first lead from that, I was like, oh my gosh, that's really simple. And I was shocked that nobody stole that and tried to do it too, but nobody did. So that was kind of a starting point for me. In 2017, I did a wedding at a popular venue with an amazing photographer. He's a great friend of mine. He took a photo of me, me and the couple, and we were just laughing, having the best time. It became like a bit of like this iconic image for me. And I posted it and people loved it. And I booked a lot of weddings because of it. And that literally turned the page for me, where I said, oh my gosh, like these photos are the most important resource for me to market. I need to create moments like this, because that was my ideal couple. My ideal couple was someone who's looking for something upbeat, energetic, funny, wants to laugh, wants to feel like pretty comfortable up there. And so by putting more of those images out there, I was attracting that couple that was looking for that. And that became a lot easier. So I'd lean into that more. And so I'd write my ceremonies more to get those types of responses. And then I just kind of switched gears a little bit as well and went into video in probably 2019, I think it was. There was nobody in the officiating space doing videos, doing reels. And I've got a great friend who's a videographer. He does all my stuff, which is why it's not because of me, by the way. It's because he's so good at being creative. I get to be my outrageous self. He turns into cool stuff. I've just got ideas. I'm always like, man, I've got an idea. Let's just run with it and see what happens. And then he somehow crafts it into this cool thing. I was the only one doing that. And so it was weird for me and a bit strange to get a bit more of a global audience, because they're like, dude, you're the only guy doing this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm not sure there are other people that have really taken that approach, but I get so many leads on Instagram. It's absurd. Now it's not without cost. I mean, he's not doing it out of the goodness of his heart editing the
Right.
videos for
Yes,
me.
yes.
So there's costs associated, but that I don't spend in other places. So that's a good use of resources. And it helps me elevate my brand. It helps me keep things very consistent. And the consistency in the brand across platforms of kind of Facebook, Instagram, our website, and then just me in person as we're talking. Couples always say the same thing. They're like, dude, you're the exact same guy online, on here. When I read your stuff, like it's the same voice. And so you're like, that's what I want. Like, I want the consistency. It's not just, I wrote some good copy on the website. This is actually just me talking. This is how I
Yeah.
talk. Um, and so that's landed really well. So I've leaned into the strategy of saying, okay, so this stuff's working. And then I want to do some slightly more creative things to incorporate. I've got also a million other ideas. I did venue tours,
Love that.
and
Yes.
they're not like, hey, check out this place. It was actually just me being a dummy at these venues and like making up a story and being really silly and goofy there. But I have such good relationships with these really like incredibly exclusive venues, but I've known them forever, and we have a very reciprocal good relationship that they'll let me do that stuff on the property. And so it adds credibility when people are like, what, this guy's allowed to go do that at that venue? Like, what the heck is going on? And so it led to some funny moments. Like people are interacting with the stuff saying like, dude, you're so outrageous. And to me, it's just fun. And it helps me narrow in on the exact couple that I know is going to be most psyched to have me there. Um, and I'm always trying to find ways to put myself in a position to succeed. And I want the couple to feel like they got the best, service that they wanted. So again, it's that process of not trying to attract everybody. I'm looking for a very small segment
Mhm.
of the population.
Yeah. I love that. I want to comment on two pieces. The end piece where you were saying like, just having couples feel like they're excited and energetic and want you to be there just based on the energy that you provide. And, that's what you're looking for. As for me, it's like when I know I've hit my ideal couple, it's like, all right, I want my couples to be proud they picked me. That's always yeah, like that's like my end. I want them proud to pick me and, happy to have me at the reception. I am a reception officiant. I know people like to leave and I listen.
Awesome.
Yes.
That's super fun. That's so fun. Cool. Cool.
Yes, we're on the dance floor. We were everything. So yes, proud to pick me is something that I personally live by and what my business model is. So I love that you spoke to that. And I just had to speak to, and it goes into my next question as well, but the creativity when it comes to the reels again in your social presence. I remember I saw one reel of yours and I crack up to this day. But it's like the 5 ways to get out of the like way of the kiss.
Yeah. Yeah.
So funny. So funny. And
Awesome. Oh, that's good.
I love that one. I know it's like pinned to your post, but that was probably like one of the first ones that like really had me like you put you on my radar where I'm like, okay, like again, it's almost like this being new in the industry, I'm 2 years in, but this silent permission to go out and be different, be energetic. And I love that.
We're trying to always create like these entertaining pieces that have staying power.
Yes.
I have couples that find me through videos I've made a long time ago. And to me, that's kind of like the evergreen effect of creating content and letting it sit there over years, is that it stays around and couples will be like, dude, I saw your video and it's literally from like years ago. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's how you found me and that's how I'm getting this booking. Like that's a crazy thing, right? And that one in particular was slightly outrageous. We had some fun doing that. Again, I'm full of like really dumb ideas, and Tim manages to like refine it into something that's like palatable and like enjoyable and funny. And yeah, he's been a gift to work alongside. So that's really fun. I'm glad that you've seen some of that stuff.
Yes, it was so
Yeah.
good. And so I love your tagline, Ontario's most caffeinated wedding officiant. I think it definitely perfectly showcases your high energy personality. But I would love to talk about the importance of embracing your uniqueness as an officiant and, how do you actually turn that into value-based offerings for couples that resonate with them?
Yeah, yeah, that's a great question. I think sometimes uh, people are afraid to kind of embrace that, and they don't see it as a strength. When I actually have seen it as the opposite. My strength is that I'm me, and no one can be me better than me, and I'm going to be unique and crazy and uh, energetic, and that might repel people, and
Yeah.
that's okay. and it might draw other people closer, and that's a good thing. And that's kind of, those are the people I'm looking for. Uh, and for people that are kind of like getting started in it, I think honing in on your messaging is so important, but I don't actually see that very often. I see a very random approach, people throwing a million things at the wall, hoping something sticks, something works. I haven't found that to be successful, personally. So again, that's more of a description of how I've done things. And then once I've seen what's worked, I've just gone really hard in that direction. And so that's kind of been my approach for it. And then, years ago, I put out a terrible video on YouTube. It was like horribly produced, terrible audio, and it's me talking through a ceremony. So I had a friend encourage me. I wanted to get into the education space. This is I have no idea, 2019, maybe something like that. And he's like, dude, just make the video, put it on YouTube. I was like, I know nothing about video. I know nothing about creating this thing. And he's like, just do it. Like, stop messing around, just do it. And he's a monster on YouTube. Like, he's got 600,000 or 700,000 subscribers. He's a maniac on there. And so he just encouraged me to do it. So I put the video out there. It's horrible. It still lives online to this day. But it's got hundreds of thousands of views. And I've met so many officiants through that video alone. And so now I'm kind of leaning into the YouTube direction, because I'm like, I had another YouTube content creator reach out who's got a little over 500,000 subscribers. And she's like, dude, your stuff's good. Do this stuff, like create more. And that's my off-season kind of thing that I'm working on, my project. A little studio that I created in the basement. I'm going to create more stuff. And my hope is that it's both educational but also entertaining for officiants, and specifically for newer people just getting started. Because again, you mentioned it earlier, there's not a lot of content out there for them.
Yeah.
And a lot of it, not that there's anything wrong with it being written, but sometimes it's easier spoken or watching. And I've got a unique relationship, like I said, with these venues where I'll bring the videographer on site to the wedding and say, look, I'm actually at the wedding. This is exactly what I would do in this moment. And to kind of show people, like, this is how I'd handle it. This is what I do. And I'm hopeful that stuff is useful for people. Ultimately, I've seen my job as, I want to be as helpful to as most officiants as possible. And I think that's through the educational piece. It's why I wrote that. It's why we created that course, Deliver Better Ceremonies, because the most common question I got asked in that YouTube video is, what are you saying?
Yes.
And so everyone wanted the script. And so I said, okay. Like, years later, I'm like, let's just make the video. Let's give away the script. But more importantly than the script is the delivery, is your presence. Like, there's so much that's wrapped up into it. Because if I read your script, I wouldn't do it justice. I wouldn't do a good job, because it's your words. And so I try to remind people that, like, it's not just the words, right? Like, it's not just the words. The words are very important. In fact, they're legally binding. Those are important words. But, I want to encourage people to be them, be you, inject your personality into this thing. That's how you're going to stand out in a very crowded marketplace. It's only getting more crowded, which is excellent news, because it means it's so much easier to stand out. Most people's aim is somewhere in the middle. And I'm like, well, that's great news for me, because I want to shoot for the top.
Right.
Which means, and I encourage everyone to do that. Like, if everyone does that, you will actually have a much easier time finding people. Anyway, that's a lot, but yeah, that's new people get out there and do it. And it's like, I would say that they should be networking with other officiants in other provinces, countries, states, doesn't matter. Follow people you think that are doing cool stuff. I've got a great community of people. We've got a little private group, and they're all over the US, and they are in Australia. And that's like a bit of a wild thing. Like, none of us have ever met each other in person, but we're like super tight, and we bounce ideas off each other. It's a crew that I feel like, look, I can just say whatever, and they're not going to be like, dude, that's really dumb. They'll say, hey, maybe think about this, or maybe whatever. And that's the kind of relationship you need, because it's not a solo mission here. It's not Jeff doing his thing. It's like, I need to be, you really need to be encouraged by other people. You need to be supported. And if you try to make a go at it alone, it's very hard.
It is. So wait, is that the Togetherness Collective?
Togetherness Collective is the name of the religious denomination.
Okay.
It's provincially based. And so that's how we have the authority to be able to appoint officiants.
Okay. Understood.
The little group I have of people that I was talking about is just on Instagram. And it's just, we all did the same thing. We were looking across the world at, like, who's doing some fun stuff, and let's, like, link up. And I think we have plans to try and meet up next year. We've talked about the wedding MBA would be a cool spot to kind of meet up in Vegas, but we'll see if we can make it happen.
Okay, so now because I am even more nosy and I feel like I seen a little conversation between you, Officiant Jimmy,
Yeah,
Okay, are these
yeah,
people up in the crew?
that's
Okay.
right. Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
love
There's
Officiant Jimmy. I
he's
love
such a
that.
funny dude. Yeah, yeah. He's and that was like I think he was so Josh Withers is a guy who's been educating me and a mentor of mine for a long time, massively impactful for me. He's in Australia. I met Jimmy. We jump on a call, and again, I'm the kind of guy who like I'll reach out to someone and say, "Dude, can we just jump on a call?" And so we jump on a call. We've never met each other. We're just talking, and I'm like, "Hey, man, I don't know you, don't know me, but you're doing some cool stuff. I'm kind of doing this thing here. Would love if we could just." And then we just found other people like that. There's some great people in California and Arizona, and it's awesome. People doing really interesting, cool, creative, impactful work.
Yes.
To me, that's really inspiring. We have an opportunity. Part of Togetherness Collective, one of the missions we have is we build homes in Guatemala. So we fund homes. We're funding our second home later this year, which I'm excited about. I was at a life goal of funding a home. We funded it earlier this year. I'm like, well, that was early to hit the life goal. Like, well, now we got to do more. Like, so now we're going to fund another one. And anyways, um, my picture was, look, we worked with, okay, last year we worked with probably 500 or 600 couples. And I'm like, man, what if we could mobilize a small percentage of them to engage their community, whether it's locally or abroad? Like, what if we could, even just a tiny percentage, and then you multiply that number over however many years you do this, there could be thousands of couples that you've worked alongside, and you could have a really big impact at the local level or larger. And that's kind of my vision for it is, look, I want couples to, I think it's good for their marriage. So I'm leading trips to Guatemala. Um, I mean, nothing's going to open your eyes and be tougher than going to a third world country where you know nothing about the language or anything. And I think it's good for the marriage. I think it's good for them independently and spiritually. And yeah, I'm just hopeful that we can continue to grow that. It's been a real fun. It's been a real fun thing. I'm really proud of it, and I'm really excited about it. And yeah, I'll be there again in February with another team, so it'll be great.
That is so exciting. Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, I definitely wasn't expecting you to say that. So there's like a mission behind the mission behind the mission
Yeah,
almost. Yeah.
always, yeah, yeah, yeah,
Very layered. And so I want to just hear about this mindset shift, excuse me, that you have to take one coming into business ownership, specifically being an officiant, and the heaviness of the role that we carry for the couple's wedding day and all of our responsibilities, and kind of transitioning into running a chapel.
yeah,
And we could talk a little bit about like the beginning parts of the
yeah.
chapel as well.
I think so. I had a friend, a mentor of mine, and again, I speak a lot of on mentorship. I've always had that model to me from a teen all the way to present. Um, Although I didn't finish it, I got married instead. I was working on a master's and just a master's of leadership, and it was a focus on mentoring. And I think there's something so important about that. You need to have people that are in your life, encouraging you, pushing you, pursuing you, people you can ask questions of the difficult stuff. Um, I was meeting with one of them in probably 2019. I was working full time doing sales. I was officiating roughly 50 weddings a year. And he said to me, look, you don't think if you left that full time job, you couldn't replace that income with those extra 40 hours per week? He's like, of course you could. Like, you need to leave that to actually focus on it. You're never going to grow the wedding business if you don't. And so that stuck out. The second thing he said is people talk about lucky breaks. And he's like, you don't get lucky breaks until you've been in it a long time. And then it's not really lucky. One of the lucky breaks for me, which is not really lucky because it was like 6 years into it, I had a woman who owned a chapel approach me who I didn't know, who was quietly doing 500 weddings a year out of it, and said, hey, I think you'd be the guy to take this thing over and kind of take it into the new era. She had it for 20 years. And I was like, well, that's a wild opportunity. Like, what a cool thing. And during COVID, I bought the business. We renovated the entire thing, and we do, hundreds of ceremonies out of there per year. And I look at that, I'm like, was that a lucky break? And I'm like, I think that's just the result of a lot of years pursuing the same thing because I've had more and more of those. But I think most people think you have to wait for that lucky break and it's just going to come to you while you're like at work one day. It's not going to happen. The more you're into something, the more people recognize that. And now more opportunities happen. More people reach out. More people say, well, dude, do you want to do this? Do you want to check out that? Do you want to work on this? And I'm like, there's no way I would have got those opportunities if I was still spending 40 or 50 hours of my week doing sales. There's no way. Um, so yeah, that's been an important piece of it. The chapel has been like a remarkable thing. It's actually located in City Hall, so it's very unique.
Yes.
Um, the the provincially, so in the province of Ontario, if you went to get married at City Hall, I don't want to generalize too much, but I mean, people get married at City Hall for a million different reasons. It's not always like I found the love of my life. That's not always the case. So there are other reasons, and sometimes the common thought is if you're getting married at City Hall, it's like I'm so sorry that's the case. I'm sorry you're getting married at City Hall. So we took over the space, and in Kitchener privatized their weddings 30 years ago, which is crazy. Nobody else has done that in the province. So we own the space in City Hall. We do all of the ceremonies for the city, and then because we already had an existing brand of Maeck Weddings, we've been able to drive more couples into there because one, it's beautiful, it's super seamless. I've been doing weddings for a lot of years, and I took all that and put it into like this compact version. Ceremony only. We don't do reception. The place is stunning. Photographically, it's beautiful, and so it's inexpensive. To wrap it all, like it's also inexpensive, and so that's like what a combo, right? And so we can do 5-6 weddings in a day, and which I've done maybe 12 or 13 this week. I've got 2 or 3 today. Check the calendar. That's pretty bad, but I check the calendar before I go. And we can do that because of the systems we built, but I wouldn't have been able to build those systems if I didn't already have the experience of doing the work. So the importance of the experience, you just can't, there's no hack to it. There's no fast track. You got to do it. You got to do the work.
Yeah, you got to get your reps in. Like you were
For
saying
sure.
earlier, you got to get your reps in. Every time I do a ceremony, I just think like, okay, another rep, another rep.
Yeah.
Building a muscle.
You get better. You get
Yeah.
better every time. Like there's a great, I think it's a Steve Martin book that I was reading. It's his biography. And he says, hey, if you ever want to, it might've been Seinfeld actually. I have to check that. He's talking about if you want to ever, I'm inspired by stand-up comedians. Like, I think that's like the riskiest job in the world. And the reason is it relates to us is you get immediate feedback from the guests. And so if you're trying to say something funny and nobody laughs, that's immediate. Like there, you immediately take a mental note and say, I might need to rework this. And so I'm always in that process of being present with the couple, doing their ceremony, and then also paying attention to peripherally, like, are people like leaning forward? Are they engaged? What's landing? What's not? And you're always in a state of like reworking and rewriting. And so it's a blast.
It's cool. So I want you to speak to a little bit of the mentorship aspect, right? Because unfortunately, also what we see in our community a lot is people want to know and gather this information for free 99. And it's a lot of information already out there for free 99 and you're not doing nothing
Yeah.
with it. So it's not the information that you need. You need the additional piece that comes with having a mentor and what they, uniquely bring. So I want you to speak a little bit to professional development as an officiant, what you have done for yourself, how mentorship has impacted you, and why, you have seek to create mentorship opportunities for officiants.
Super funny. I say almost verbatim that to our officiants that I get asked all the time these questions. I tell people not how to do anything. I never tell people how to do things. I just say, look, this is what I did.
Yeah.
I mean, try it if you want. And they don't do it. And then they say, hey, I'm still struggling with blank. I'm like, did you do the things that I mentioned? No, I haven't done that yet. Like, I didn't have a chance or whatever. I'm like, then what are we talking about here? It's not an information thing. It's an action thing. And I can't teach you the action. I can't do the work for you, which, by the way, Do the Work by Stephen Pressfield is another book that I'd recommend to everybody. And that's what I find is like the barrier for most people starting is they're so overwhelmed with information that they're kind of like, which direction do I go? Like, which information do I take? Look, you got to take a step some direction. Being still will get you nowhere. So start going a direction, correct the course as you're going. You're going to start knowing, am I going the right direction? And if not, that's okay. I can turn a little bit and go this direction.
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm standing still, nothing happens. Um, mentorship for me has, uh, since a teen, I've always had mentors through organizations like Young Life, invest in my life, encourage my development, both as a man, as an adult, as a Christian, and I've always kind of sought that out too. I said, hey, this was massively impactful for my life. I'm always looking for opportunities to serve other people. Um, I would say anyone who's officiating should have a mentor. I would call Josh Withers a guy that mentors me because I will message him all the time with random stupidity and questions. And to him, it's not, he knows me. So it's not like,
Yeah.
do you know what I mean? It's not like
Yeah.
dumb things. He's like, he knows me well. And so I have the freedom to ask him that stuff. And I've got two others, one US based, they're not in the wedding space whatsoever. One in Philadelphia, one in BC, who are mentors as well, that I can ask anything. That stuff is so important, and they're so removed from everything else outside of here. So they have no, I mean, they just want to see you succeed. And I think this is a bit of a weird, I was thinking about this the other day, just the idea of community. Like I was talking to my wife about this, how you get to a certain point where I just want to see other people really be successful in doing this. And, which is why I refer so many people. The, the hardest thing to do in this industry is to get leads. And I'm thankful I get a lot of them, and I'm happy to direct them to other great people. I want to see people do well, and I think there could be maybe more of that attitude. And it's nothing great that I'm doing. I just mean, instead of like keeping these leads and saying like I need to protect everything and I need to like make sure that you know I don't want anyone else to do well. I'm like, man, I want you to do great. You're in the same city, great. You should be awesome. Um, because ultimately the couple wins.
Yes.
If there are more great people, the couple always wins. That's should be kind of the goal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know if that answers that, but man, it'd be
No,
really
it did.
cool to, yeah, it'd just be cool to see a little bit more of that. And I've been trying my best to just encourage the development of people, whether locally, it doesn't really matter where they are. And some people are like, hey, dude, like they're like directly competitors to you. I'm like, yeah, but at the same time, if they do well, I'm happy. There's no, I actually don't really compete with anyone else. Like it's always just competition with myself. I'm hyper competitive, by the way,
Yeah.
but it's always Jeff versus Jeff. Like that's kind of the baseline. So it's a way better, at least in my opinion, way better uh, model of competition.
Absolutely. I love that because, sometimes we can. I'm not going to speak for myself because I also really go for a communal model. I'm very much into, community, collaborating over competing and all the other, madness. But I think it does really ring true to talking about having mentors outside of the industry as well. So yes, it's great to have people within the industry because they know the industry, they've been in the market longer, they can foresee certain things, they can, help you think about things that happen specifically in this industry. But when you get mentors outside of this industry, it's almost like you can be expanded even more because not everything is so weddings, events,
Yeah,
officiate, focus. So that's another big thing. It's great to get a wedding coach. I definitely do it. Don't
yeah,
speak
yeah.
about the wedding industry,
There's
but
yeah, there's
listen,
tremendous value in that, and I think the other side of it is when you're asking, like you're trying to find a mentor. Um, I get messages, but I know my wife does all the time as well with the planning side of things because she's got a fairly large planning end of our business. Um, new planners will reach out and basically say, hey, love what you guys are doing. Would you send me the forms that you use for your planning couples?
really
To which we say, absolutely not.
great.
Like, there's
What?
no way. No, there's no way. It's like, this is 13 years of doing this business. Like, we don't
Right.
freely give that away to people who are just getting started. We had to work to figure this out. And this is the result that we have right now is the result of the experience that we've brought. So that type of approach to looking for a mentor or something is silly. I get people that ask for stuff all the time, and I'm like, I'm not giving you that. If there was a relationship here, maybe that started first, and I felt like you weren't just messaging people asking for free stuff.
Right.
Um, I'm more inclined to sit down with somebody because I get asked to sit down and just chat with people often, and that's great. I'll do it. But I'm certainly looking for motive as well. Like, what's kind of the underlying motive behind this conversation? And it's sometimes not always a positive one. And so then I'm like, look, I'd love to help you out. I just don't think now's the right time.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's a big thing too, because again, I'm not going to get on my soapbox, but I do find it peculiar that there is this desire to learn how to charge without understanding the first piece of it is you want to have people that are willing to pay. You're not even willing to pay, but you want to you want me to teach you how to get people to willingly pay you, and you're not learning the first step. I don't
Yeah.
know, like, you know, it's very interesting. It is very interesting.
Price is a very funny thing that people speak on too, um, and again, I think like people will look at you, or people will look at me, or people who are active socially, and uh, they want to get to that part, but they forget there's just so much work that's involved to get there. I
Yes.
didn't just wake up one day and set a price and be like, "That's the price."
Yeah.
Like, if you can't prove there's any value in that, then you can't you can't do it. The flip side is undercharging is you can't run a sustainable business. And and one of the things I try to teach our newer people as well is looking across the market is not a good way to set your price, because you don't know the cost of someone else's business, like the cost of doing business. If someone is 63, has a pension, and is retired, and they're officiating, they probably don't need to charge very much. But if I set my price based on theirs, I'm going to go out of business very quickly.
Yeah.
Like I won't be able to pay my bills. So I'm like, that's not a very good way to do it. I mean, you kind of want to get a feel for like what's the range, but you certainly don't want to be looking at someone and just saying, well, they charge 400, I'll charge 450. Like
Yes.
I feel like I'm $50 more better than they are or something. Um, but that's what I see. I will see
No,
that
you
all the
do.
time.
Yeah.
Um,
Or they undercut like 50, like right under. Same thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I'm just not sure why. I just won't give discounts. I'm like a strong zero discount guy because I feel like the right people will find me. They'll they'll pay the rate. They'll be happy. I'm going to provide something excellent and great, something that I'm proud of. But yeah, the pricing thing a lot of people struggle with, and I think for officiants to really like continue to grow, they need to also reevaluate the rate that they charge and understand that they play a significant role in the day, and they should charge more than they probably are. And not because they're greedy or they want to make more money, but it's like if you want to grow your business and
Yes.
pay your bills, you actually have to charge more.
Yeah.
And when you break it down and say, like, in Ontario, most couples get married between May 1st and October 31st. And how many weekends are there between those 6 or 7 months?
Yeah.
Not a lot. And then it's hard enough just to book those, a handful of dates. You're saying now, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, it's really just Friday or Saturday. So now you've taken each week and reduced it from 7 days to 2 days. I have two potential working days that week, and you're trying to fill them on. Like, man, you better charge a lot, because that's like when you do the math, it's not.
Math
So
ain't
it's,
mathin'. Yes.
yeah, it's not working. But yeah, couples or officiants have a tricky time with that one, and they often feel like they can't charge more because, like, I don't know what it is. I'm not sure why. They feel weird asking for a higher rate. Like they feel uncomfortable. Maybe is the right way to put it. And I just try to encourage them to say, "But you're awesome. You're trained. You're excellent. You're a gifted communicator. You've got experience. And also, the job that we do is most people's nightmare. To
Yes.
stand up in front of a group, nobody wants to do that. There is
Yes.
value in that. There's
I've
value in it.
learned that.
And
Yes.
and if you're to poll all the guests there and say who would like to come up and do what I'm doing, none of them would do it. So like there's value in that. And so we gotta understand that and
Yeah.
charge appropriately.
Oh, that's so good. I just want to speak a little bit to just the power of having a mentor and my own pricing journey, just because kind of mentioned it. And by the time people watch this, hopefully they watched all the other episodes. I might have said it once or twice. You know me, you know. But when I got accepted to the Fellowship for Change program with Wedding Pro, my mentor when I first started was like, hey, you're charging a little too low. I believe at that time I was maybe 250 for elopements, 350 for no, I was 350 for elopements, 500 for weddings, and then 750 if you included the rehearsal.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah. Yeah.
And I was like, okay, like, at that time I'm booking, right? So when someone's telling you to go up on price, but you're already booking, you get
Yeah.
nervous. I was so nervous. And I was like, but girl, I'm booking. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And her response was really like, one, that's because you haven't created a client journey that you're excited about. So you haven't yet been able to figure out how to communicate your value in these consultations, on your other presences, online, digitally, your website, all of that good stuff. And then I looked around at my cohort of other officiants. It was about maybe 3 other officiants there. And then Bethel was a coach and, some of the other people. And I was the lowest price officiant there.
Wow.
I
Wow.
was. And it wasn't until she pursued me to think more of myself and the work that I do and the impact that I make just from being me, coming from a healthcare background, being so gratitude forward and filled, and recognizing that that's the difference that you'll make in this, during this process, during this journey for these couples. And I successfully went up to $995. And when I booked my first,
Nice.
that price, I was like, you're like stressed out when you book your
Yeah, yeah.
first. But I'm like, if you can do it once, you can do it again.
Good for you. That's unbelievable for such a short amount of time to be at that point. Um, there's this line that I love. It's almost like you charge a rate that almost makes you laugh when you say it. Like
Yep.
it makes you a little bit uncomfortable. And I know whenever you raise your prices, you always feel a little bit uncomfortable. Like the price
Yeah.
is this, but you get that first one, and you're like, oh my gosh, they didn't even. And you realize they didn't even care with
They
that.
even
The price was
blink,
$9.95.
literally.
And it's 100% a mental thing for us. It's a mental hurdle for us to get over. I'm so happy for you. Like that's unreal. Congratulations. That's super exciting to be there. And doesn't it feel good to be charging a rate that you feel good about too, and feeling like, man, like they really value me. And
Yeah.
um,
And I
I,
see
I
it's
love,
possible. I put myself in these rooms where I'm going to officiant accelerators and wedding MBA, and I'm talking to officiant Jimmy and, Sharice and all of these other officiants, Rev Roxy, Red Inspired Aretha, who are in that $1,000 to $15 to $2,000 range. And for me, it's like, okay, it's possible, but it's only
yes, yeah.
possible with the confidence and the knowledge and the creativity and the desire to really create a craft that is worth capturing. So it's like, okay, well, if you can do that, then you can get to that place. And that's just where I've been heading.
I'm super happy for you. That's unbelievable. That's so good. I wish more people knew that you increase your pricing that much over such a short period of time, because I think that would be inspiring for a lot of people to say, what the heck am I doing? I should charge more. Um, and charging more allows you to do more with the business too. Like there's just more flexibility that you can do. You can offer more things. You can be, there's, Josh had said to me at one point too, the volume based business is a bad model, because you're going to show up, your officiant's going to be exhausted. They've done 50,000 ceremonies that year because they're just trying to make ends meet. Charge more, do less, because now you can give way more of yourself to the couple. Like
Yeah.
you can literally be way more present, because I'm not like, oh, I've got 10 more ceremonies tomorrow to get to. You got this one.
Yeah.
This is the one you're present in. And
Yeah.
that was a real good, like that stuck with me a little bit as well, to say, yeah, we're not volume based. We're charging a rate that we're happy with. So that's
Yeah.
awesome. Nice work. I'm glad that they encouraged you to do that, and I'm happy that you followed through with it. I'm
Yes.
really happy you did.
I am an action taker. I'm gonna take the information and I'm
Yeah.
gonna run a play or 2 or 3 personally. That's just me. But yeah, and even from that, I noticed doing the numbers from year to year, my amount of transactions went down, but my transaction average went up. So
Yeah. Yeah.
similar, yeah. So I would love to just open the space. Is there anything, any questions that you wish I asked that I didn't, or anything that you want to talk about that we didn't get to?
Well, this has been great. I'm not sure. Like you've asked some really great questions, had me thinking a lot. No, I think we did a good. You did a good job of really covering. Like, I'm involved in a lot of pieces, and I think a lot of people are. I get asked often. They're just like, dude, how is it possible that you're doing these things? The charity, the chapel, the wedding biz, the planning biz, the kind of all this stuff, and it's all systems, right? I mean, you really got to be a systems person of figuring out how to automate things. And you talked about customer journey. I talk about that all the time with our new officiants. From first point of contact when someone reaches out to me, all the way to that thank you email after the ceremony. How do you like make that an exceptional customer journey, and then how do you tighten it over time and make it great? It's kind of like, sorry, I'm going on a tangent, but that is one thing that I talk a lot about. Is it's not just the day of when you deliver the ceremony, it's the entire experience. And it's also, I mean, before they've even reached out, they've probably followed you on Instagram for a little while. So They're watching how you interact with other people. They're watching whose stuff you share, whose stuff you post. Like they're making their own decisions on what kind of person you are before they've even reached out. So yeah, that's what's important in controlling your personal brand is really important.
That's so good. And I think a lot of the times that some people struggle with in the beginning is establishing some type of brand identity, figuring out, what their brand voice is, and understanding that you create that to get your ideal client and kind of not the other way around. So I think a lot of conversation is always like, building your client persona, avatar, and stuff like that. And
Yeah,
people
yeah,
struggle because they're like, I don't know if they watch Real Housewives of Atlanta versus, you know what I mean? Like Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. Like, I mean, so I feel like
yeah.
it's not that information out there is wrong, right? I'm pretty sure it helped a lot of people. It's a lot of businesses that already exist, right? But I think that when you see the struggle, people making that connection, giving them the opportunity to be like, well, hey, how about you figure out what makes you authentic? What makes you high energy and excited? What creativity do you want to bring? How do you want to show up in the wedding space? And I think allowing you to craft who you want to be and put out there into the market again is like how you're going to get people who want you, right? Not just any officiant, but like you. Like I want Tiara, I want that vibrant authenticity, and you're gonna get it. But yes.
Yeah, and I believe you deliver that too. Like this conversation with you has been awesome. Like you're incredibly good, like just a great communicator. So couples are super lucky to have you up there. Like I already know that. Obviously, I've never even seen you do a ceremony, but it's so easy to tell when you chat with somebody right away. I'm like, oh my gosh, like you're built for this job. Like this is like you're so good at it. Um, this has been a ton of fun. I guess if I can plug one thing, one of the things that I've been working on that I've been passionate about is the course that I've been working on. It's called Deliver Better Ceremonies, and it's kind of the personal brand that I've been building out is Hey Jeff Maeck, and that's my Instagram handle. It's the website heyjeffmaeck.com, and that's where we're going to continue to put resources for officiants to check out. My hope is that, well, my hope, and I've been getting the feedback from people who've already bought the course that it has been really impactful for them. So that makes me really happy. Saying like, look, I can take care of one piece of the ceremony for you, and that's the ceremony script. I want you to spend your time focused on the couple. Relieve as much stress as you can from them because they're going to be stressed. That's just the case. Like, and so do your best to be present there. Let me take care of the kind of the ceremony writing piece. And yeah, that's right. I'm really excited about that. I'm excited to see kind of where that goes and that education piece with YouTube. We're going to continue to build that out. You'll be able to see where things are going. I'm going to be posting about it a bunch, so that'll be fun. And I'm super thankful that you reached out and asked me to be a part of this. Like this has been a real gift and really nice.
Thank you. Well, first of all, I'm just super excited and thankful that you said yes. I'm grateful for all of the gems you dropped. Honestly, you blew my mind in this interview. I, have to stay in character and focus, but I did bring out my piece of paper and pen. I mean, you dropped books and ideologies and mindset shifts. And I just love that, again, you also have space for officiants to come to you and learn from you and receive some type of coaching or mentorship or just education opportunities because it's not a lot. So I know you spoke just a little bit about your course, but where can we find it? Is it on the heyjeffmaeck.com?
Yeah, heyjeffmaeck.com would be the best spot. You'll see Deliver Better Ceremonies there. And yeah, we spent a lot of time on that. That was creating a course was a lot more work than I think I thought thought it was going to be. It's I think we've got 21 or 22 videos in that course. It's breaking down each section. It's got a full ceremony of me delivering the thing too, so they can see it. This is what it looks like in action. Let's cut it in pieces and talk a bit about how I do it, why I do it, and man, when it was done, it was a very fun moment of like I've been asked to do this since like 2017 or something, and sort of sometimes you got to put those ideas on the back burner though. It's not the right time, right? You got to create space for it, and it was the right time now. So thanks for the encouragement too. I'm gonna hopefully continue to put out some great content that I hope is kind of gets people thinking about what we do, and I'm always on the lookout for like I don't have it all figured out. Like there's so much that I don't know, and I change my mind on stuff often. You test stuff out at ceremonies. Like I'll go to the chapel today and do a few ceremonies, try something new, just see what works. Right? It's a fun, it's a very fun thing that we get to do.
Yes, I love that. Well, thank you so, so, so much. Very excited. We will be, letting people know that your course is out and that, again, our
Thank you
community
so much.
is really to push out all the other educational opportunities for officiants to really hone in on their craft and their creativity and their confidence. So I'm excited. I love
You're the
that.
best. Thank you so much. Thank you so
Absolutely.
much.
Okay, we'll see you next time, guys.
Okay. See ya.